make sure you have an idea that you love yourself, because people will sense your love for it. Your enthusiasm, your belief in the value in what you're going to put out will draw people.
Welcome to the Disruptware Podcast. Whether you're just starting up or scaling your software business, we interview the experts with ideas and strategies you can implement today. Now here's your host, Paul Clifford.
Hi there, software entrepreneurs, and welcome to the Disruptware Podcast. This is the show for entrepreneurs who are either just starting out or those who already have a software company and are looking for techniques and ideas for massively scaling their business. And the way we do that is to interview experts in the market who are already running their software company. And whatever level they are at, they have great content to share, and we dig deep to get factual experiences that you can put into action right now. So let's get on with our guest today. So on today's show, I'm delighted to welcome someone called Saul Fleischman. And Saul is the founder of a company called RiteTag. And RiteTag is a company that optimizes your social traffic all around hashtags. But before I dig into that, I'm going to get Saul on the line. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Welcome. Thanks for spending the time with us, Saul. I wanted to get you on the show because of, I came across your product, RiteTag, and I thought, wow, this is really unique. And I haven't seen anyone else doing this. And especially, when it comes to Twitter and social optimization, one of the challenges is really just getting more traffic without having loads and loads of followers. So, tell me a bit about your product.
Yeah, it was the big tsunami, tidal wave in Japan, about 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago, that put me onto a trend where people really didn't know which hashtag is going to reach topic interested audiences. They would try things. And at that time, it was best to look at Twitter rather than TV because there was cover up about the Fukushima nuclear reactors and such. And so I thought, what if we devised a tool that would only assume you knew what you were talking about in your own words? This is a given, right? But we would help you find the best hashtags and give you a ranking for them, for the hashtags most associated with your topic. And you get your topic, you might want to change your words to get a better list of hashtags. You do that a couple times and you're on to the right tag. So this is what we started with. We actually initially integrated many social networks. Right now, we're going very deep with Twitter, and then we'll expand out to other social networks. But initially, we were within the first 2 months of launching the site, we expanded from Twitter, Google+, and YouTube out to Flickr, Instagram, DeviantArt, SlideShare, eBay, Tumblr, Amazon e-commerce, Instagram. Am I forgetting anybody?
I don't know, but it sounds like a lot.
And we learned all kinds of things about APIs. I imagine you're chuckling inside, dealing with that, with a small staff and that many APIs and how they change and such. We've learned a lot. We want to go deep with Twitter, but
Sure.
So it's a thing for helping you find the right hashtags and then also providing a feedback loop where you can test and we'll show people their results and we'll push their best performing hashtags, right prominent for them so that they can go back to them. We actually now give people 3 exclusive ways to get hashtags for a tweet, a Twitter update. Yeah. And one of them is based on actual solid results. And then another one is based on the user looking at their stats on stuff they've sent from RiteTag or our browser extensions, and then making their own sets, tag sets, that are also available to them in our tweet composer.
I guess
so,
a way to kind of illustrate that to people listening, and as you're talking now, I'm just thinking like, when I had a look at the tool, the way I kind of thought it's like, you imagine Google suggests, when you type in something into Google and it pops up and shows you what people are actually searching for, so you can actually see, where the traffic is almost, which keyword are the most people searching for. Well, if you can imagine that in the hashtag world, so as you're doing a tweet and putting a hashtag, then what it's kind of doing is suggesting the right hashtag to use for, for your word or what word you started with, so that you can get the deepest reach.
Yes. And since you use the word illustrate, I need to mention we just launched something, the Right Score, where with either our Firefox or Chrome extension, you can just, any of your listeners can just search RiteTag or search hashtags in the Chrome store or in Mozilla's extension gallery, and you get that free. And then in Twitter, start typing a tweet, start typing a hashtag with the pound sign, the hashtag mark, and we color grade it, change it a little bit, like plural to singular, or break up social media to social and media, and watch as the grading changes. So yeah, before you even send a tweet, you can optimize it. So we do that, and that's free in Twitter. And then for paying users, we also ride in TweetDeck, Hootsuite, Social Oomph, Sprout Social, and Buffer.
That's really cool.
That's a start. We think it's a start.
So, as a Twitter user, so with Disruptware, my Twitter account is very new.
Yeah.
And obviously I've used Twitter for years, but it's the Disruptware one is very, very small. And so it's got a very small number of followers. And, what I really hate is increasing the number of followers, in any artificial way, because you get the wrong sort of people. And so it is a bit of a slow process, but at least you know that your audience is really targeted. And of course, the downside of that is that when you do tweet, you don't necessarily get a lot of traffic. But of course, using like hashtags and picking up hashtags which people are using a lot, then you actually penetrate a much larger volume of traffic. And that was quite an eye-opener to me, using your app.
Thank you. Yeah, what I like to tell people is you have on your Twitter account, perhaps just in the tens or hundreds of followers, right? So my main account, my personal account, is Osaka Saul. It's 25,000 and change followers. And the way you beat me is with a good hashtag.
Got it.
Because you're going to reach a topic interested audience. You reach, I would say from experience, I eat my own dog food. I use my RiteTag, as all our staff do. And I'd say you get a little bit more on nearly every tweet. I wouldn't say it's exponential, but you get a little bit more. And for people who are looking to optimize, they understand that's where it is. It's a little more this way, a little more that way. Yeah.
Got it. Cool. So tell me a bit now, moving away from the product itself.
Yeah.
Obviously things haven't always been smelling of roses,
No.
It's been a bit of a battle, hasn't it? Getting your product to where it is now.
Oh, sure. Let's start with the suicidal days.
Yeah, go for it.
Sure. Is that where we were going, Paul?
Well, you brought it up. So.
Yes. Right. So after the earthquake and actually the first iteration of RiteTag, this is a heck of a story. A guy, John Waller, an English young man, who was one of the ones he was quite shaken, no pun intended. He was living a lot closer to the epicenter, and he ran down to Osaka, and I just met him at a meetup, and he wound up doing the first iteration, which was called Tag Bag. And this was quite disruptive. You didn't need to begin with a hashtag. You just needed to begin with a topic or a word. And so he did that in a couple weeks, wound up being a real changer for his career, though.
Right.
So he promptly got hired in Tokyo, where he still is.
Okay.
We're still friends, but that was the end of my staff for Tag Bag.
Yeah.
It was another 2 months of going to meetups and searching high and low in LinkedIn, and developers who are well paid. That's, as they should be. And I didn't have the funds to pay them. Our startup has never been funded. We're 26 months, not from Tag Bag, but from the launch of RiteTag. Just over 26 months of history, and we're still bootstrapped, self-funded.
Right. Yeah.
And on very, very little. So finding people, it was real tough.
So you're looking, so you went out to all these meetups and things to find, developers who wanted to come in, and work as an equity share or something like that.
Yes, for equity.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. And how did that go?
No, really bad, because I'm not an engineer myself. My degree is my BA's in film. In graduate school, I didn't finish my MBA. I started. So really, among technical people, the hustler, the marketing type, gets very little respect. If you want to bootstrap software application, if you're an engineer, it's the easiest. Second easiest would be a really great designer. For example, if you're not very visual yourself, but you're a great coder, then you probably respect the guy who can do the user interface, who can design that, who can wireframe it, right?
Right.
Okay. And maybe at least do or lead the staff who do your logos and things. You respect that person, right? But the product designer, and that's me in this case. What RiteTag does and such comes from me.
So you found it quite difficult,
yes.
finding the right sort of engineer, because you're coming at it from a product perspective. You've got the ideas in your head.
And you know what they say?
And you want to get the right
ideas are a
guy.
dime a dozen. You've
Sure.
got an idea, Saul.
Sure.
Ideas are a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Right? What's the value of an idea? Look it up in Quora.
The notion of ideas a dime a dozen is because it's not the idea that necessarily creates the product; it's the execution of it.
Oh yes.
And the reason why many people might still be in jobs, even though they've got the great ideas, it's actually getting out of that job and actually driving forward. Getting it implemented and having that momentum, that focus, to keep it pushing forward. I mean, even look at yourself, case in point, you wanted to get RiteTag up and running, and you had problems finding the right people.
Yes.
And yet you still pushed on,
Yeah.
and now you've got, what's your team look like now?
15 people.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we're a bit PR marketing heavy right now. We need more. We need 2 more people in engineering. So coordinating with all these people is a pain. Yeah.
Well, that's all the fun of a virtual staff. The modern economy. I actually quite enjoy it. The issue, I think, is the timescales, especially with yourself being in Osaka. I think that might make it quite difficult to people perhaps on the West Coast.
You think?
Yeah.
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 And anywhere in America would be better.
Yeah.
For me.
Sure.
Sure.
Sure. So you got your team together now, and you had some growth issues, like you said, early when we got started in the interview, you're saying like, you applied this methodology to all these other social networks. And all of a sudden you realized that you had like masses of API and more importantly, masses of data, coming in, which you then needed to, collate, sort and everything like that, which brought upon itself, I'd imagine, a huge technical challenge. And so you kind of took a step back then, didn't you? And then sort of chopped out all that and said, right, we could just need to focus on one thing and get this one thing working really, really well, which was Twitter. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, and from what I've seen, the product's up and running now. And so now really, you've got users coming on board and now you're at the stage where you're just, testing different monetization strategies to build the actual revenue.
We're doing better with that. We've got 3 tiers for users, and we're about to launch an API. So, for example, what I suggested to our listeners to take our Firefox or Chrome extension and see what we do to Twitter, see what we do to Hootsuite. This will be available within days to other web apps, software, tablet apps, and of course mobile apps with our API. And that with that, people start actually free. Developers start free, and as they hit certain levels of API calls, then it starts costing a little. But so that is probably going to be quite strong. We've got right now we have 11. It's still in soft launch. We've done no PR for that yet, and we have 11 social apps who are saying me first on the API. I'll take it before the documentation is ready. I'll give it to me. So we think that's going to go well. But yeah, as you were saying, testing different monetization strategies for user accounts for RiteTag. It's been a slow grow, but we're seeing more people convert to paying. And I think I would just say a word on that. It's really the visual thing, the hashtag grading. When they see it, when they can stop guessing, when they see their hashtags graded as they type them, Buffer, TweetDeck, Hootsuite, or just plain in Twitter, then they see the light and they say, okay, I want more of this. I want this everywhere.
Got it.
That I'm tweeting from. So this is helping with conversion. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting though, looking at how it's also your customer acquisition strategy and how you're converting those, because, freemium style products are quite a challenge to get right, and you're going after, a large volume of market with a sort of free product, which potentially is going to generate a ton of data and server costs and everything, which you're going to have to fund before you really get a lot of revenue from paying customers, right?
Our queries that are cached so that we can give people results and so that we can grade hashtags are in the low millions right now. Right. And to give people even better accuracy, we need to cache over 10 million. So we need to scale up servers. We need money for that, for infrastructure, for
Absolutely.
sure. And it's all the time that startups that are freemium fold. They go out of business. They fail to convert. It happens all the time. There are things that my wife and I have loved using that have shuttered because they just couldn't make money. So it happens, but we have good people on it. for strategy
Right.
and good advisors. So we're confident.
I know that you're a proponent of lean startup and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go through sort of the product or an MVP, a product market fit type exercise at the beginning, to really nail down whether this thing's going to sell?
No, we made all the mistakes,
Okay.
every possible mistake in the beginning. And briefly on them, we listened to the wrong people, listened to people who wouldn't be our customers. We learned later. We took a step back and read the Lean Startup. Our first validation boards we did, well after a year of pivoting. But we developed features like listening to the wrong people. We developed features that no one would use, let alone pay for. Some things were technical where, even Steve Blank will say, at the end of the day, every startup is its own thing and not all the rules apply. So, for example, to be able to build to draw a sketch or wireframe something, for listeners, a wireframe is a mock-up. Buttons look like buttons. Search fields look like search fields, but you search and nothing happens because there are no databases behind it. But to let people touch something and see if it makes sense to them, let them test.
Sure.
And also for developers to understand what's going to do what and where and how things are going to interact in a site or a mobile or tablet app. But for us, because no one had seen anything like RiteTag, hashtags from words, names, brands, products, or hashtags, right? They had seen things that were hashtags connected to other hashtags that they knew, but we were going about it a different way. We just figure you know what you're talking about.
So I guess, yeah.
It took, I'm just going to say, it just took us a long time to build something that people would even use for months. As we iterated, people would trickle in, take one look at it, and never come back. And we would launch events. I did Hangouts on Air, where I'd want to talk to users, and people wouldn't come. It took a real long time before we iterated far enough where people got enough value from it that they would give us worthwhile feedback. Took a long time, Paul.
Right. That's really interesting. And I guess the ROI though is on the traffic, right? So, if you can show that your system gives them more traffic, then that's where it becomes a no-brainer.
Traffic, interaction, in our stats and top performing tags, we were following how many times someone's used a hashtag. If there's a link in a tweet, a URL, then the average number of click-throughs on links. We're also tracking favorites and retweets. So we're looking to show where people got not just traffic, but also interaction. If they're retweeting your tweet, you say you have a small number of followers on one of your Twitter accounts, and I've got 25,700. So if I retweet one of your tweets and it's something that you'd like, you really want to get out there, this is, we're going fishing in another pond for you, right? So things that are generating those are important. So it's not just traffic, but it's also beneficial things. We're tracking every possible beneficial thing that can come out of using a hashtag.
Brilliant. how are you getting the word out? I mean, obviously there's a podcast like this, but how are you doing the marketing to increase your awareness for the product?
We have the Hashtag Academy blog on our site. It's quite active. It's right now it's 5 to 6 articles a week, and they're all, I do one of them. And then our other PR marketing managers are doing the others. So you have different voices with ideas on what people are doing, interesting things people are doing with hashtags, as well as covering like pro tips, things you can do with RiteTag. And then we've got a pretty active social presence for RiteTag in Google Plus, Facebook, Medium, Instagram, Pinterest.
Mm-hmm.
So we're bringing people in this way. Another thing is our hashtag scans are embeddable, and they make for a great infographic. It's dynamic. People like to do, you'll see every single day there are articles. I have alerts, two types of alerts going. And every single day people are writing articles. Best hashtags for travel agents. Best hashtags for marketing. And the problem I often have with them is, number one, what's your source? Why are they best? Why is one better than another? Because I found them in Mashable. Okay. All right. Another problem is they're static. You are providing a list, and if someone comes back 2 years later, they're looking at the same list. So instead of that, if somebody embeds one of our hashtag scans for free, and free users can do this. Matter of fact, you don't even have to sign up for RiteTag. You just search hashtags for a topic. You'll find one of our hashtag scans. Take the embed code. You stick that in any blog or page that you've got access to HTML, edit mode. And what you're providing is a dynamic changing list. Because we're watching
really cool.
24 hours a day. As they change, then the associated hashtags change in that embed. So something that you wrote today is going to still be current 3 years later.
Cool. Now, that's really interesting. So, well, look, we're coming to the end of the interview. I think the product's really amazing. I've been playing with it.
Thank you.
And I'm sure our listeners will get a lot out of it. Any sort of parting words of advice for people looking to start up or people looking to scale? What have you learned, over the last 2 years, in building this app?
You're going to meet a lot of people that you want to tell to go to hell. I like what Warren Buffett says on the topic, the billionaire investor, Warren Buffett, where if you don't not telling someone to go to hell today doesn't relieve you of the ability to tell them that in the future. So if you're not a great developer or a developer at all or a designer, it'll be tough. It's possible. You need a great idea. You execute as far as you can. For example, with the plan, with sketches and stuff like that. Be relentless. Make sure you have an idea that you love yourself, because people will sense your love for it. Your enthusiasm, your belief in the value in what you're going to put out will draw people. Because often, like Paul, as you were saying, you have people who don't execute on their own ideas because maybe they don't believe in them enough to.
Brilliant. So I really appreciate you coming on the show. I found that very insightful. And I think for anyone listening, go to RiteTag, try it out. You can just try it out right now. You can install it as an extension in your browser, and you'll get it straight away. You'll see how this can, increase your traffic, increase your followers, And it's literally like Google suggests on the social networks. So, Saul, thanks again, and I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun.
If you enjoyed the show, you can get the show notes from disruptware.com. And if you are not a subscriber and you're listening to this in the iTunes store, then please visit disruptware.com and sign up. That's it for this episode. Look out for next week's show. I'm Paul Clifford, and thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Disruptware podcast. Check us out on the web at disruptware.com.